My name is Janet Morrison. I'm 54 years old, and I've worked as a senior accountant at a manufacturing firm in Minneapolis for the past 17 years. I understand numbers. I understand balances. I understand the difference between what something costs and what it's worth. Last Monday, my daughter taught me that lesson in the cruelest way possible. It was 7:43 a.m. I was sitting at my kitchen table with my first cup of coffee, still warm, reviewing the wire transfer details I'd prepared the night before. $80,000, the final payment for Claire's wedding venue in Napa Valley. I'd been saving for 3 years, adding to it every month, imagining the moment I'd walk her down the aisle. My phone chimed. An email from Claire, subject line, wedding update. I smiled before I opened it. Maybe she wanted to finalize the seating chart, or ask about my dress color, or share another detail about the flowers she'd chosen. I was wrong. Mom, it began. Not dear Mom, just Mom, like a label on a file folder. After talking with David and his family, we've decided to keep the ceremony very intimate. His mother feels strongly about the guest count, and we need to respect that. Since they're contributing so much, we've set up a live stream link so you can still be part of the day. It's really the best solution for everyone. At the bottom, hope you understand. Love you. I read it 3 times. The coffee went cold in my hand. She'd uninvited me. Via email. From the wedding I was paying for. I sat there for 20 minutes, watching the steam stop rising from my mug. Outside, my neighbor's sprinkler clicked on, the same as it did every Monday morning. The mailman drove past. A dog barked somewhere down the street. Everything looked exactly the same. But something fundamental had shifted beneath my feet. I didn't cry. I didn't call her. I didn't throw my phone across the room. I just closed my laptop, set down my coffee, and got ready for work, like it was any other Monday. But it wasn't. That was the morning I stopped pretending that sacrifice equals love. The drive to the office was quiet. Minnesota's early autumn air smelled like turning leaves, but I barely noticed. My mind kept circling the same thought. How did I become optional? Claire is 28, my only daughter. I raised her alone after her father walked out when she was 9, leaving behind credit card debt and a mortgage I couldn't afford. I remember sitting at this same kitchen table, bills spread out like accusations, trying to figure out how to keep the lights on, and still buy her the clarinet she needed for school band. I worked doubles. I skipped vacations. I drove the same Honda for 12 years. Every promotion, every bonus, every tax refund went into 2 accounts, her college fund and her future. When she changed her major from education to art history, adding 2 extra years, I paid without question. When she moved to San Francisco for an unpaid internship, I covered her rent for 6 months. When she called crying about her student loans, I refinanced my house to help her pay them off. I never kept score. That's what mothers do, right? But that email made me feel like a line item in someone else's budget. Useful until the numbers changed. At work, my colleague Sarah noticed something was off. She stopped by my cubicle with a glazed donut from the break room. "You look like you got bad news," she said gently, setting it on my desk. I wanted to tell her. I wanted to say my daughter just disinvited me from her wedding. But instead, I smiled and said I hadn't slept well. She didn't push. She just squeezed my shoulder and walked away. That small gesture, the donut, the silence, almost broke me. After all the noise in my head that morning, it reminded me that kindness still existed. That I still existed. Around lunchtime, my phone buzzed. Claire. Calling now. I stared at her name on the screen. Let it ring once, twice, 3 times. Then I declined the call. 5 minutes later, a text appeared. "Mom, can we talk?" I know the email was sudden. I didn't respond. I turned my phone face down and went back to my spreadsheets. Because maybe, for once, I needed to be the one who didn't answer immediately. Maybe I needed to stop being so available to someone who only noticed me when she needed something. That afternoon, I made a decision that would change everything. After work, instead of going home, I drove to First National Bank. I'd been banking there for 23 years. The branch manager, Teresa, greeted me by name. "Mrs. Morrison," she smiled. "What can I help you with today?" I sat across from her, my purse in my lap, my voice steady. "I need to cancel a scheduled wire transfer." She pulled up my account. "The one to Auberge du Soleil, for 80,000? Yes." Her fingers paused on the keyboard. "May I ask why?" "Plans changed," I said simply. She looked at me for a long moment, the way women do when they sense a story they won't ask about. Then she nodded. "You're in luck. It hasn't processed yet. Scheduled for tomorrow morning." She clicked a few keys. "Would you like me to cancel it?" "Yes, please." She completed the transaction, printed a confirmation, and slid it across the desk. "Done. The funds will remain in your account." I looked at the paper. $80,000. 3 years of overtime. Skipped haircuts. Store-brand groceries. And saying no to myself so I could say yes to her. "Thank you, Teresa." "Of course." She paused. "Mrs. Morrison, whatever's happening, I hope it works out the way you need it to." I left the bank with the confirmation folded in my purse and drove home through the fading daylight. The sky was turning that particular shade of orange that makes everything look both beautiful and sad. By the time I pulled into my driveway, I had 14 missed calls from Claire and 6 text messages. The last one said, "Mom, please call me back. This is important." I turned off my phone and went inside. In my kitchen, I poured a glass of the wine I'd been saving for Thanksgiving. Claire had promised to come home for it this year. Last year she'd cancelled. Work, she'd said. The year before, David's family had invited her skiing. I took the wine out to my small porch and watched the sun finish setting. Somewhere, a child laughed, a car door closed, life continued, ordinary and oblivious, and I thought about all the moments I'd made myself smaller, all the times I'd rearranged my life around hers, all the sacrifices I'd made that she'd stopped noticing because they'd become invisible. I thought about David's mother, a woman I'd met exactly twice, who apparently had opinions about who deserved to attend my daughter's wedding. I thought about that email, the casualness of it. "Hope you understand," as if understanding was something I owed her. And I thought about myself, not as a mother, not as a checkbook, but as a woman who deserved to be seen. Around 9 p.m., headlights swept across my living room. I heard a car door slam, then footsteps on my porch. The doorbell rang, then again, then 3 sharp knocks. "Mom, Mom, I know you're home. Your car's here," Claire's voice. Tight with frustration, I set down my wine glass and opened the door. She stood there in her work clothes, hair pulled back, phone clutched in her hand like a lifeline. She looked younger than 28. "Scared. Why aren't you answering your phone?" she demanded, stepping inside before I could speak. "Hello, Claire." "The venue called," she said, her voice climbing. "They said the payment was cancelled. Mom, the wedding is in 6 weeks. We're going to lose everything." I closed the door quietly. "Would you like some tea?" "Tea?" She stared at me. "Did you hear what I just said?" "I heard you." "Then why?" She stopped. Something in my expression made her pause. "You did this on purpose." "Yes." Her face went white. "Why would you do that?" "Because I'm not invited," I said calmly. "You are invited. To the live stream." "That's not the same thing, and you know it." She ran her hands through her hair, the way she used to when she was little, and didn't want to admit she'd done something wrong. "David's mother is very particular about—" "I don't care about David's mother," I interrupted. "I care that my daughter sent me an email uninviting me from the wedding I've been funding for 3 years. We're not uninviting you. It's complicated. It's very simple, actually. I sat down on my couch. You wanted my money without my presence. That's called being used. Her eyes filled with tears. That's not fair. No, I agreed. It isn't. Mom, please. David's parents will think you're sabotaging us. They've been... She stopped, swallowing hard. They've been what? She looked away. They don't think you've been supportive enough. And now this proves it. Something cold settled in my chest. I see. If we don't pay by Friday, we lose the deposit. All of it. $35,000. That does sound difficult. She stared at me. You're really not going to help? I helped by cancelling the wire transfer, I said. Now you know where you stand. I can't believe you're doing this. Her voice cracked. This is my wedding day, and I'm your mother. But apparently, that only matters when you need money. She stood there, tears streaming down her face, and for a moment she looked exactly like she had at 9 years old, when her father left, small, hurt, scared. But she wasn't 9 anymore, and I wasn't the same woman who'd worked 3 jobs to make sure she never felt abandoned again. Get out, Claire! What? You heard me. My voice was soft but final. Get out of my house! Mom. Now! She grabbed her purse, her hands shaking. At the door, she turned back. I'll never forgive you for this. I know, I said. But I'll forgive myself. And right now, that matters more. She left. The door clicked shut behind her, quiet as a period at the end of a sentence. I sat in my living room, heart pounding, and realized something startling. I didn't feel guilty. I felt clean. The next morning, I woke to 52 missed calls. Texts from Claire, from her friends, from her future mother-in-law, whose number I didn't even have saved. One from David. Mrs. Morrison, I don't know what happened, but Claire is devastated. Can we please talk? One from my sister. Janet, what's going on? Claire called me crying. And one from Claire at 4:17 a.m. The venue is threatening to sue us. Please, I'm begging you. I made coffee. I ate breakfast. I got dressed for work, and I didn't respond to any of them. At my desk, Sarah appeared again, this time with concern written all over her face. Janet, you okay? You look. I uninvited myself from my daughter's wedding, I said. Or rather, she uninvited me, and I cancelled the $80,000 I was about to send her. Sarah's eyes went wide. Then slowly she smiled. Good for you. Really? Really? She sat on the edge of my desk. My daughter pulled something similar last year. Wanted me to pay for her apartment, but told me not to visit because I wouldn't fit in with her new crowd. You know what I did? What? Stopped paying. Best decision I ever made. She came around eventually, but only after she realized I wasn't her ATM. Did you forgive her? I forgave her, Sarah said carefully. But our relationship changed. It had to. Because I learned something. You can't love someone into respecting you. They either do, or they don't. Those words stayed with me all day. That evening, another email arrived. Subject line, I'm sorry, I opened it. Mom, I messed up. I see that now. David's parents have been pressuring us about the guest list, about keeping things appropriate, about not making the day about anyone but us. I let them convince me that asking you to watch from home was reasonable. It wasn't. You've given me everything, and I treated you like you didn't matter. I don't know if you'll forgive me. I don't know if I deserve it, but I'm sorry. Really, truly sorry. The wedding is off. We can't afford it without you. And honestly, I don't want it if you're not there. I love you. Claire, I read it twice. Then I closed my laptop. An apology is just words until it's backed by change. And I'd heard, I'm sorry before, followed by the same patterns, the same assumptions that I'd always be there to catch her when she fell. Maybe this time, she needed to learn to catch herself. 3 days later, a card appeared in my mailbox. Handwritten, Claire's careful script. Mom, I meant what I said. I'm sorry. David and I are doing a small ceremony at City Hall next month. 20 people. No live stream, no games, just the people who actually matter. I hope you'll be there. I'll understand if you're not ready, but I hope you are. Love always, C. I held that card for a long time. 2 weeks later, I stood in a simple courthouse in San Francisco, wearing a dress I'd bought just for myself, and watched my daughter marry someone who, I hoped, would learn to see her the way I'd always tried to. Completely. Honestly, without conditions. She cried when she saw me. We didn't talk about the money. We didn't talk about the email, or the cancelled wedding, or the $80,000 that was still sitting in my savings account. We just stood together, mother and daughter, in a moment that didn't cost anything, but meant everything. Later, at a small dinner, David's mother approached me. I owe you an apology, she said quietly. I was wrong about the guest list. About a lot of things, I nodded. I didn't say it was okay, because it wasn't, but I accepted that she'd said it. Claire and I talk now, carefully, honestly. She's learning that relationships require more than need. They require presence, effort, reciprocity, and I'm learning that being a good mother doesn't mean being limitless. It means teaching your children that the people who love them are real, with boundaries, with needs, with the right to say no. I still have most of that $80,000. I've been using it differently now. A trip to Italy, a new car that doesn't rattle, donations to causes I care about, money I saved for someone else's dream, now funding my own. If this story resonated with you, share it, comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is stop giving until there's nothing left of yourself. Because love isn't sacrifice, it's mutual. And it starts with believing you're worth showing up for.